Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like I am limping game week to game week at the moment, dealing with injuries, players that have left their clubs, and all kinds of issues in FPL at the moment. If you're like me, maybe this video is going to help you because it goes through my team selection for game week 24. Now, I thought I'd start this video off by going through some players that I'm considering transferring into my team for game week 24, and of course, the players that I'm looking to transfer out for them. First up, I've got Reece James. I currently have João Cancelo burning a hole in my FPL pocket and my team. He's obviously been loaned to Bayern Munich, and for some reason, he's still hanging about in my FPL team. And I think Reece James is a perfectly good option to replace him. Now, he's back fit, he's starting for Chelsea. I've put there the next sort of 6 game weeks of fixtures for Chelsea on screen for you to see. And in my opinion, apart from the Tottenham game, which you can argue if that's an easy fixture or not yourself, but I think some of those teams are pretty good fixtures. And yeah, the Chelsea fixtures look really good. I think they seem to be able to be keeping clean sheets again. Certainly in 3 of their last 4 games in the Premier League, they've kept a clean sheet. And a lot of that actually correlates with Badiashiel's signing. I think he's been an excellent signing for Chelsea and really improves them defensively. Obviously, the advantage from Reece James, he's amongst the attacking returns. He's got 0.3 expected returns per 90 from an attacking perspective, and he doesn't blank in game week 25 or 28. Obviously, the risk you take with Reece James is that he's not going to start all the games in the Premier League, especially with Champions League football around the corner. So if you're looking really for a sure player to start every week in your team, maybe Reece James isn't that guy. But for me, I think he's a great option for the attacking upside that he provides. And I'm certainly considering bringing him into my team. And my next player that's in consideration is Martin Odegaard. Quite simply, I'm still a Martinelli owner. I couldn't justify in my mind taking a hit for him in game week 23 for the double. Unfortunately, he got subbed off for Martinelli early on in the first Arsenal fixture of the game week, and Trossard came in his place and scored. So it really does put me in doubt as to Martinelli's expected minutes, basically. With Odegaard being the club captain, I'd like to think he's nailed, and he's definitely going to play more minutes than Martinelli, in my opinion. And also, I think he's got less competition for his position as well. Odegaard certainly joint best Arsenal midfielder for attacking stats. He's right there joint with Saka now on 0.58 expected returns per 90. He's got a double in 25, which I think is important to maximise your points potential for that game week. And it doesn't appear that he's going to blank in game week 28 like other teams are. So for me, trying to maximise the points I get out of my Arsenal midfielder is one of my priorities. And that could involve selling Martinelli to Martin Odegaard. And now I mentioned this guy when I was going through my Reece James transfer analysis, if you like. But it's Badiashiel. I think he's come into that Chelsea team and absolutely transformed their defence. Now, I know they conceded in the game against West Ham, but before that, they kept 3 straight clean sheets after his debut. He seems to have definitely cemented his place in that Chelsea starting lineup now. For some reason, Chelsea didn't actually include him in their Champions League squad, which for me makes me think he's absolutely nailed to play pretty much every game in the Premier League. And an advantage coming in at 5 million, I think he's probably the cheapest starting Chelsea defender as well. Comparing him to Reece James, I think his expected minutes are better. He's definitely less likely to be subbed off, purely because he's only playing in one competition now, mainly in the Prem. And he's a centre-back, and I think centre-backs are less likely to get hooked off early. Similar point to Reece James, I think Chelsea have got some great fixtures there. If you look down that list, I mean, pretty much every team on that list, you could foresee a clean sheet for Chelsea against. Obviously, Spurs and Leicester probably providing the biggest challenges of those games, both being away and both being attacking teams that aren't too bad. But in my opinion, if Chelsea continue to shore things up defensively, they could keep a clean sheet in every one of those games. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen by any chance, but you look at those fixtures on paper and you think, yeah, Chelsea could win those by nil quite easily. So yeah, looking to transfer out João Cancelo, as I said, around Reece James, and to save a bit more money and to guarantee some expected minutes, I think Badiashiel is a really good idea for a transfer in. Okay, and now I'm just going to take you through my starting 11 in FPL, position by position. So in defence, I've got Kepa in goal. I'm perfectly happy with how he's been doing. Similar story to what I've been telling with the other Chelsea defenders. Kept 3 clean sheets in his last 4. I think he's a really good option, and he gets amongst the saves as well. This might be Luke Shaw's final week in my fantasy team. He's got Leicester at home this week and then a blank. I think Leicester at home is going to be a tough fixture for Man United to keep a clean sheet in, but as we saw against Leeds, Luke Shaw has the opportunity to get attacking returns. He gets himself really well forward when he's playing in that left-back spot, and he's got a wicked cross on him. And Rashford seems to be really getting amongst the headers. So I think Shaw crossing to Rashford against Leicester, who are notorious for being really bad at defending crosses and balls into the box, I think he's got a good chance there of getting some attacking returns. And yeah, I'm not sure if Casemiro is going to be back for that fixture. I don't think he will be. But regardless, I see Leicester as a team Man United could keep a clean sheet against. And next up, we've got Ben White. Arsenal now statistically the best defence in the league. I think I've got to start Ben White against Aston Villa. Kieran Trippier, FPL legend of the season. Pretty much guaranteed to get bonus points every game. Not sure if he'll keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, but obviously he has the backup of bonus points like I just mentioned, and he's on all the corners and free kicks for attacking returns too. And then finally, at the moment, I'm really thinking about bringing Reece James into my team. I know it's a bit of a risk when I spoke through him compared to Badiashile. His expected minutes are probably a bit less, but I just can't avoid the attacking upside combined with the clean sheet potential over the next few weeks. He doesn't blank. He looks to be back fit. He's surviving the games, not picking up any of those injuries anymore. And I think now's the time to have a go on him. So for me, I think Reece James is going to be my transfer in this week. And then moving on to the midfielders, I've gone for De Bruyne, Martinelli, Saka and Rashford. Probably going to be Kevin De Bruyne as last week in my team as well. I know I said that about Luke Shaw, but I may be able to bench Shaw. But I think with Kevin De Bruyne, he's a really sensible transfer to Mo Salah for game week 25. I think on paper, Salah's probably the best captain for 25, albeit it's very close with Bukayo Saka. So for me, he's looking like a sell in order to maximise my points potential for 25. And he also has Newcastle in 26, which, as we know, is a tough fixture. And I think Bruno Guimaraes will be back for that one, which means Newcastle are going to be right up for it defensively. Martinelli is going to have to stay in my team for another week, I think. I'm not sure I can justify the sideways move to Odegaard, given some of the other priorities I've got in my team. I think I'm just going to sit there and hope that he plays against Aston Villa, or let my first on the bench option come in to replace him. Saka, he's going absolutely nowhere in my team. He's right up there now with Odegaard in terms of expected returns per 90 for Arsenal. He's their talisman. He's on the penalties. And yeah, captaincy option in 25. Don't think he'll be going anywhere. And then finally, Marcus Rashford. He's second in terms of expected points for the game week. Haaland is first on 7.1. Rashford's on 7. I think he's a really decent captaincy shout for the game week. I've not got the captaincy on him at the moment, but depending on the fitness status of Haaland, obviously Haaland's in my team, it's no surprise. The captaincy's on him at the moment. But I think if you have any doubt about Haaland's minutes or his fitness, Rashford will be my captain. And that completes the midfield. And then finally, my two strikers. Now, Mitrovic continues to frustrate the hell out of me with the continual blanks he keeps getting. He's going to score at some point, in my opinion, and those fixtures are pretty good. I know Brighton are strong, but it's going to be a tough, it's going to be a tough fixture, that one, with both teams fighting for that final European spot. So I think both teams are going to go for the game to try and win it, which hopefully means goals for Mitrovic. He's still on the penalties, I would imagine, despite missing one against Newcastle. He's missed a couple already this season, much to my annoyance, and he continues to take them. So I don't think there's any danger of him being removed from penalties. And his underlying numbers are still right up there with the likes of Harry Kane. They're still, 0.7, 0.8 expected returns per 90. So he's still operating on the level of Harry Kane. And I think it's just a matter of time before he starts to get amongst the goals again. Whilst he's frustrating, I'm going to continue to keep the faith with him because I think it's worth doing. And then, as I mentioned previously, I've obviously got Erling Haaland on my team, and he is my captain for game week 24 as it stands. But like I said, if there's any danger that he could be benched with his doubt for injury or just rested entirely, then I'm definitely going to switch it to Rashford. That completes my strike force. And here is how my team in its entirety is looking. So on my bench, I've got Ward, Andreas, Nonto and Patterson. I know Patterson's burning a red hole in my team, but as far as I'm concerned, he's potentially going to be back for 25 and he's a perfectly decent option to start. Even though I don't necessarily back him to keep a clean sheet, I think if he just plays 2 fixtures in that game week, because I'm not sure Seamus Coleman should really be the starting right back for Everton anymore, Patterson can just come into my team and score me 3 or 4 points for game week 25 and I'd be happy, certainly for 3.9 million, especially considering both Shaw and Trippier are going to blank, so I'm definitely going to need a defender to come in and replace them. With what I've got on the bench at the moment in the transfer of James in, I can field a full 11 for game week 25. It's not absolutely ideal, but I think it put me in a good position. So I think the Cancelo to James transfer appears sensible. I might also go for Badiashile if I'm a little bit doubtful about Reece James's minutes. But yeah, hopefully this video's helped, and there's my team. And that's the end of the video. I hope it helped you with any maybe transfer dilemmas or benching decisions that you've got to make. If you want some more advice, you can check out the Golden Goal channel. I've made other content for Game Week 24 with things like all the expected points data, clean sheet odds, goal involvement odds, goal scoring odds, all the data, underlying numbers that you need to prepare for the game week. Oh, and one more thing. If you've watched to this stage, please tell me the player that you think appears in the thumbnail that's blacked out. If you can get that, I'll be really impressed. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, and I'll be back with another video before the end of the week. See you later.